If you wake up at 3 in the morning every day and can't keep sleeping, or this happens to a family member, this talk is for you. I am Dr. Beller. I am a cardiologist, and today I am going to teach you how to solve this naturally, in 2 ways. First, there are 7 things that are mainly responsible for us waking up at 2, 3, or 4 in the morning and not being able to keep sleeping. Recognizing them is fundamental. For what? To then know what to do. For example, swollen legs. Did you know that they can make you urinate a lot at night? The prostate, the thyroid, music medications, beverages. We are going to talk about all of that in this quick, practical talk that can improve your sleep and your quality of life. But then, why is it more common to wake up at 2, 3, or 4 in the morning and not at 11 or 12 at night? You have to understand how sleep works. Sleep, when you fall asleep, goes through several stages. In the first half of the night, sleep is usually deeper, heavier, and your body reacts less to sounds. But as the night goes by, as it passes, your sleep becomes lighter. Therefore, if you went to bed at 10 at night, around 2 or 3 in the morning, your sleep will be more superficial. So, a door that opens, the heat, the urge to urinate, can wake you up. It is not that 3 in the morning is a time, or that an organ becomes active, but rather the sleep cycle can occur at 2, at 3, at 4. Now, the important thing is to recognize the 7 main reasons and try to fix them to sleep better. Let's start with number 7. I am talking about stomach reflux. Many people think that if they have reflux, their stomach, chest, or belly must necessarily burn. But not all people feel heartburn, and that leads to not consulting. Some people have symptoms, for example, such as coughing when they lie down or at night. Some people have throat clearing, that feeling that your throat itches and throat clearing, you have to do this. Some people also wake up with a hoarse and irritated voice because of stomach acid or with a bitter sensation in their mouth. Reflux can lead to waking you up at 2, 3, or 4 in the morning with burning or an uncomfortable sensation. Now, there are very effective methods that naturally improve reflux. For example, do not eat very heavy meals before going to bed. At night, try to eat at least 3 hours before sleeping. I go to bed at 10, 10:30 at night, so I try to have dinner at 7, 7:30 in the evening to arrive with digestion already practically done and with a more empty stomach. On the other hand, if you eat a lot of fats or proteins, it digests more slowly. If you eat before going to bed in large quantities, it will worsen your reflux and also the quality of your sleep. So you are going to wake up more. Another thing that experts recommend and that really improves reflux is raising the head of the bed. I'm not talking about putting 2 or 3 pillows, but rather putting a little piece of wood, a brick or whatever, underneath the legs at the head of your bed, about 15 centimeters. This really works. And another thing that you can also do and that improves reflux is sleeping on your left side. That can help a lot to reduce reflux. Now, if you have burning, a burning sensation in the stomach, or any of these symptoms that I mentioned to you, consult with the doctor, because that reflux may be hurting your teeth, esophagus, throat. Number 6. Abnormal need to urinate. Many people say that they wake up because they need to go to the bathroom, but in reality it was a noise, the heat, or something else that woke you up, and then you realize that you have to urinate. Now, how can you know if getting up to urinate at night is normal or if it is a signal from your body that something is wrong? Well, it is very simple. If you get up 2 or more times every night, it is likely that you have some problem or that some habit is causing it. Normally we do not get up, or we get up once. These are the main problems that make you get up at night. Write them down and review them and see if it is your case. First, swollen legs. Swollen legs can be because of varicose veins, because of a weak heart, what we call heart failure, or because of other situations that retain fluid. And when you lie down, the fluid, now that it is no longer being retained by gravity, begins to be reabsorbed, and your kidney turns it into urine. So you lie down, and 3-4 hours later, all that fluid, those 3-4-5 that you had in your legs, have been reabsorbed, and a large part became urine. So you get up to urinate because you have a huge urge. What can you do? I suggest that you raise your legs for at least 20-30 minutes, about 3 hours before going to bed, to allow part of that fluid to be reabsorbed and urinate it before going to bed. Also, if you have problems with an enlarged heart or very important varicose veins, consult with the specialist, especially if you have heart problems and when you lie down you cough. When you lie down you are short of breath, or if you have to sleep almost sitting up because you have a lot of coughing or other symptoms. This is typical of a weak heart, Be very careful. Number 2, diabetes or high glucose. If you get up in the early morning with a lot of thirst, you know that you are diabetic. You do not control yourself adequately. It is time to go to the doctor. Because perhaps you did not know it, but high blood sugar, when it is very high, filters through the kidney. And when that molecule of glucose of sugar falls through the kidney toward the bladder, let's say, it carries water with it. So diabetics who have very high sugar produce more urine. That is why you get up very thirsty, and you get up with large amounts of urine. You cannot hold back the urge to urinate. So, very important, consult. Number 3, typical in men, the prostate. When the prostate is enlarged, it blocks the exit of urine from the bladder toward the toilet. So, the bladder accumulates more liquid, and when you go to bed, you think that you do not need to urinate or you cannot urinate all that you should, and your bladder already starts the night with 200-300 milliliters of urine. When you produce 200-300 milliliters more, you will feel like urinating. An enlarged prostate is a frequent problem in people over 50-55 years old. Have your prostate checked, because there are medications and eventually surgeries that greatly improve this problem. Number 4, water. This is one of the most common problems. I always see it in my office. It is very simple. Many people drink a large glass of water before going to bed. They have it on the nightstand. While they read a book, they drink water. This is wrong. We should drink water from the time we get up until 2 hours or 3 before going to bed. Those last 2 or 3 hours, we should greatly decrease the amount that we drink. It does not mean that you cannot drink water. But if you drink large amounts, then you will feel like urinating. Try to change your habit. Drink a lot of water, but during the day. And number 5, age. If you are over 70-75 years old, it may be normal for you to get up to urinate up to 2 times. If you are younger or get up more times, then perhaps it is one of the problems I told you about before. But attention, women. Now number 5. I am talking about menopause. A woman who slept well all her life can reach menopause or perimenopause a few months before, a few months after, and begin waking up all the time. Sometimes soaked in sweat, other times with heat, with palpitations, with anxiety. Now, be careful with that if it is not menopause. Just endure it. It will pass. This is an old thought because there are very effective treatments for menopause and for perimenopause. Sometimes they are hormonal therapies, other times they are non-hormonal medications, but no one has to suffer the symptoms of menopause in such a marked way. There are already treatments that improve it a lot, but it can also help you to keep the bedroom cool. Use light bedding. Avoid alcohol. And now we are going to one of the most important ones on this list, snoring. In reality, the danger that may be behind snoring is number 4 on our list. Why do I say this? The noise when snoring is sometimes only a snore, a noise, but in other cases it can be a symptom of a dangerous syndrome called obstructive sleep apnea. Obstructive sleep apnea can wake you up at 1, 2, 3 in the morning or even all night. In fact, people who have obstructive sleep apnea often do not realize it, but they get up dozens of times during the night and have fragmented sleep and do not even realize it. Obstructive sleep apnea is very simple. Imagine that air enters through a hose toward our lungs. Now imagine that that hose while you sleep is squeezed and much less air reaches our lungs. What happens when less air reaches the lungs while you sleep? The brain enters a state of alert, enough oxygen is not arriving, carbon dioxide is accumulating, and what does it do? It wakes us up. So we change position, we move. Sometimes we do not even realize it. The frightened brain makes you move, increases your blood pressure, increases your heart rate, and produces what is called micro-awakenings. So, your sleep never deepens, and you are all the time with superficial sleep and getting up constantly. What is the problem with this? That this happens dozens of times during the night to a person, and those who have obstructive sleep apnea have more heart attacks, have more strokes, and die more. Why? Because it increases the pressure, because it increases the heart rate, because it stresses your body when your body should be resting. It is as if you never rested. So, if your wife or your husband tells you that at night you snore a lot, stop breathing and start breathing again. That is typical of obstructive sleep apnea. Other people feel in the morning that they did not sleep at all. They feel tired as if they had not slept, or they feel irritable. Or I have discovered patients in the cardiology office who had very high blood pressure and took 4 or 5 medications and did not adequately control their blood pressure. Obstructive sleep apnea is a cause of resistant hypertension. You treat the apnea and the patients improve and reduce their medication. So be careful if you take many pills and they never asked you if you snore. Now we are going to the last 3 on our list. The third is the myth of sugar, coffee, and alcohol. Many people think that sugar drops a lot at 2 or 3 in the morning, and that is why they wake up. However, this is only frequent in people who use insulin or some medication that lowers sugar. These people can indeed wake up with low sugar. They wake up sweating, trembling, with nightmares, with palpitations, with headaches, or even confused. On the other hand, in people who do not use medication for blood pressure, waking up because of sugar drops is extremely infrequent. In them, it can be any of the things we have been talking about that I am going to tell you about before, but it can also be that they drink alcohol or coffee or other beverages, and it is producing that awakening at 2 or 3 in the morning. Let's talk about alcohol quickly. People think that if they drink alcohol, they sleep better. This is false. People who drink alcohol fall asleep faster, but they do not reach deep sleep, and their sleep becomes fragmented. So, you have the feeling of sleeping better, but the next day, you are going to be more tired because your brain could not complete the sleep cycles. Alcohol is not a good idea. Besides, alcohol acts as a diuretic. So, you are going to get up more to urinate, and this is going to wake you up more. What happens with coffee? In sensitive people who drink coffee after 2 or 3 in the afternoon, they have insomnia. And I am already going to tell you that insomnia is not only not being able to sleep, but also waking up before the scheduled time. So, be careful if you are sensitive to coffee, mate, chocolate, tea. Do not drink these beverages after 3 or 4 in the afternoon, especially if you are sensitive. In fact, if you are sensitive like me, after 12 noon, you should not drink them. Now yes, the last 2 for me the most important on our list. Number 2. As a cardiologist, I am obliged to say it. Waking up at 3 in the morning does not always mean that your heart is sick or that you are going to have a heart attack. But if you wake up at 3 and feel that your chest hurts, that you are short of breath, that you cannot breathe, or you are sweating, or you have to sit up and you are agitated, or you have a lot of coughing, be careful. This can be paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea, and it usually occurs earlier, actually, 1 or 2 hours after you went to bed. It is typical of patients with an enlarged heart. Now, it can also be the obstructive sleep apnea that I told you increases the chance that you will die from heart problems. It can be menopause, it can be your thyroid. Therefore, pay close attention. When you wake up, do you wake up calm and wanting to urinate? Or do you wake up short of breath? Or do you wake up with palpitations? Or do you wake up hot? Recognize the cause in order to treat it correctly. And if it is from the heart, go to the cardiologist. And number 1, the most important of all, waking up every day at 2 or 3 in the morning can be insomnia. Just as you heard, insomnia is not only not being able to sleep. There is another type of insomnia called early awakening insomnia. The patient falls asleep, but at 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning, wakes up and cannot keep sleeping. You are worried, with thoughts that do not pass. You look at the clock, the cell phone, calculate how much time you have left. You cover yourself, uncover yourself, or say, well, I can't sleep, I'm going to work. It is very important that you understand this. This insomnia is not when it happens to you once. It can happen to you once because you are stressed, with a family or work problem. This insomnia is important when it happens several times a week, more than 3 times, and occurs for several months, more than 3 months mainly. There it becomes chronic, and there it becomes a problem. So, why does it happen? Mainly because of stress, family problems, pain, poor sleep hygiene, too many screens before sleeping, and it becomes a vicious circle. What do you have to do to break this vicious circle? First, when you get up, do not look at the clock or the phone, not only because that light is bad and inhibits sleep, but because it is not time for social media or work. Number 2, do not try to solve your day at that time. Your brain will start in stress mode, in everyday life mode, and you will not sleep again. Number 3, do not stay in bed fighting for hours. Go to another place, your living room, your reading room. In short, turn on a dim light. Read a book or listen to soft music until you get sleepy, and only then return to bed. Now, during the day, do not compensate for the hours you did not sleep with a 2 or 3 hour nap, because that will only worsen the matter and generate a vicious circle. Try to go to bed the next day at the same time without having taken a nap, or at most a nap of 20-25 minutes before 4 in the afternoon, and also try to get up every day at the same time. If you do this and add at least 3 or 4 times of exercise during the week, 2 or 3 hours before going to bed, never before going to bed, then your sleep will improve. Now you already know what the 7 main villains of insomnia are, why you wake up at 3 in the morning, and how to solve them. Tell us what you want us to talk about and where you follow us from. A big hug to everyone. Bye.